We've got a couple more recipes for you today that are going to be perfect for those game days or for holiday parties coming up. So stick around. We've got 2 recipes that are really simple. I think you're going to love them. Hi, I'm Mary Catherine, and welcome to my table. The first recipe that we're going to cover today is a sausage dip that is going to be perfect for all those fall get-togethers that you have. And we're going to start with just 3 simple ingredients. You can put this together very easily, but it's going to be packed full of flavor and be very hearty. We're going to start with 1 pound of sausage. I bought mine at the big warehouse store, and it came in 3 pounds. This is just the regular sausage. If you like it spicy, you can buy the hot sausage, and it'll work just fine in this as well. So I'm going to put this into my hot skillet now. And we're just going to brown a pound of sausage. I'm just going to break it up just like you always do when you want to brown your meat. They make some special gadgets for this now, and I actually have one, but, for years I just used my good spatula like this and broke it up, and you can absolutely do it this way too. You don't have to have a special gadget for it. Break it up a little bit, and then start turning it and just keep breaking it up as it cooks. It's already starting to brown. I had my skillet good and hot, so it's cooking pretty quickly. Okay, let it sit for just a minute now, and I'll show you the other 2 ingredients we're going to use. We're just going to use some Rotel. This is a generic brand. But this is just the original Rotel. There again, if you want it mild, you can use the mild version. If you want it spicy, you can use the hotter version of this. And then we're going to just use an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. I'm going to go ahead and open this up and get it ready. And you do not have to drain this can of Rotel. In fact, don't, because you're going to want a little bit of juice for this dip. Otherwise, it would be a little bit too thick. So you're just going to open the can and use it the way it is, and then we'll put the cream cheese in just as soon as we've got our sausage browned. If we need to drain a little bit of the grease out of the pan first, we can do that. So we'll check it then. But I've got our other ingredients sitting right here ready. Let me flip this over a little bit. It's going to be done before we know it. Let's leave that for just a couple of minutes. I'm going to go ahead and open our can. See, just a little bit of pinkness still. Probably in another minute or 2, it'll be ready. I'm just going to keep breaking it up just a little bit more. It smells good. I think it looks ready. So what I'm going to do now, there's not a lot of extra grease in there. So I'm just going to grab a couple paper towels, and I'm just going to kind of pat it down in there and get up just a little bit of that extra grease. Go ahead and turn this down. We still want that heat, though, as we incorporate the Rotel and the cream cheese into it. But, okay, we got a little bit of extra grease up. I think that'll be good. All right, I'm just going to dump this straight in, just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing with our cream cheese. Just get it right in there. Now, let's get a little bit extra off. There we go. And I have had my cream cheese sitting out for just a little while before I started making this. It doesn't have to, but it's just going to help it melt into this sausage a little bit quicker since it was more close to room temperature. Okay, and so it's still on warm. We're just going to stir this until it's all mixed together very well. I think I'm going to switch now to a spoon. There we go. It's getting mixed together better now. And like I mentioned before, this is a good hearty dip. You see, it's just chock full of that sausage and the rotel. It's going to be delicious, though. Okay. I'm going to turn it off. And let's take our pan over here. And I'm going to scoop some out into our bowl. Boy, we need smell-o-vision. This is really smelling delicious. Okay. And just as simple as that, you've got a delicious sausage dip. Let's give it a taste. I bet the cameraman's going to want one today, too. What do you think? Let's give him the first one. It's hot. Okay. That's really good. I hadn't made that in a long time. That's really good. It's a great game day snack. Okay, so that's one of our dishes for our game day celebration. Stick around and let's do another one. The second recipe we're going to cover today for a game day option is bacon-wrapped sriracha chicken bites. And this is the first time I've made it, but the recipe just intrigued me so much, and I think it would be a great hit for a game day spread. So let's make it together today. The first thing we want to do is just to put together a marinade, and then we're going to cut our chicken into bite-sized pieces and let it sit in the marinade for about an hour. The marinade is very simple. You can mix all of this up in a bowl if you want to. I'm just going to skip that step and save from getting a bowl dirty. I'm just going to do it directly in the bag that we're going to let the chicken marinate in. I'm going to cut this recipe in half for us, but I'll give you the measurements for the full recipe. What you want for the full recipe is half a cup of oil. Now, it didn't specify what kind. I would probably use olive oil, but I'm almost out, so I'm probably going to have to use a combination for us. And so I'm just going to use a fourth of a cup instead of half a cup, since I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm just going to finish off here with this canola oil. Okay. And I'm just going to put it directly into my bag. And then for the full recipe, you would use 2 tablespoons each of some lime juice and some sriracha sauce. So I'm going to cut that down to just 1 tablespoon each for our recipe. Okay. Whoop, spilling a little bit. There we go, a tablespoon of sriracha. And I'm just going to kind of mix these up in the bag a little bit. All those flavors are going to cover our chicken, so it's going to be just fine that we didn't use a bowl. And see, it's not a whole lot. You just want a small coating on it, apparently. So now I'm going to use about a pound of chicken breast. And I had some very large chicken breasts, so I think one of them is going to be about a pound. And then we're just going to cut this up. I'm going to kind of slice it lengthwise first, because we want about 1-inch cubes. We just want it to be bite size by the time we get it cut up. So let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think that's going to be a good bite size piece. Okay, one more cut. All right. So here we've got our bite-sized chicken pieces. And then we're just going to dump it directly into our bag as well. Just like this. And I'm going to kind of turn it around different ways to let that sauce coat, and you can see it's working. It's doing that. And I'm going to put it in the fridge for about 1 hour, and I'm going to turn it halfway through just so we're sure that every side is getting coated well. So I'm going to wash my hands, close the bag, and we'll stick it in the fridge. All right, it's been about an hour, so I've got our chicken out here, and I've got my little station ready to put it all together. I've got my toothpicks ready, and I've got bacon, and then I've got brown sugar, and I've got about 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And remember, I'm cutting this recipe in half. So you would have used 2 pounds of chicken instead of 1 pound of chicken, and you would want to be sure to have 1 cup of brown sugar instead of 1/2 cup. The recipe does call for a whole pound of bacon, so I may not use all of this today. All right, so I've got my bacon open, and I'm just going to kind of cut these pieces in thirds, just about like this. Okay, so I've got some. Let's go ahead and start working with them, and you'll see how we'll do this. Okay, so this is a messy job. You can wear gloves if you want to. I'm just going to wash my hands good afterwards. Okay, so I'll get 1 piece of chicken, and we're going to wrap it in that bacon, and then we're going to use a toothpick to just keep that bacon secured. I'm going to go ahead and set them down here and do the wrapping first, and then we'll go back and do our brown sugar around it. And so you just want to continue this process until you get all your little bites of chicken wrapped in bacon. And if you'll notice, I'm not using thick sliced bacon. I love thick sliced bacon, but for this recipe, I want just the regular thinner slices, because I think if we used the thick bacon, it would not get nice and crispy around the chicken, and we want it to be nice and crispy. So I'm going to use just the regular thin slices of bacon for this. All right, now that we've got all of our bacon wrapped around our chicken, this would be the time. If you want a spicier bite of chicken, you would go back with just some sriracha sauce and brush it on at this point. I'm going to leave it the way it is. We're not super spicy people, so I'm going to try it just the way that the recipe is. But if you know that you like heat and you want it, put a little more sriracha sauce on your chicken now. And then we're going to do the final step before we cook it. I'm going to just kind of get some brown sugar on each little bite. Just going to kind of dip it in here and make sure it gets on top good. Just like this. And then once we complete this, we're going to bake it at about 350 degrees for 30 minutes. And then after that, we'll put it on broil just to finish getting that bacon really crispy. And we won't leave it in there long at all. We're just going to leave it in for a few minutes, and we're going to watch it carefully so that it won't burn, because it can do that quickly at that point. But just a little bit of broiling will make that bacon extra crispy on it, which I think will be delicious. Okay, so you can see just cutting the recipe in half filled my baking sheet up. So this is going to be plenty for us. But if you're having a large crowd, you probably do want to make the whole recipe. And then it was just almost perfect with the brown sugar. Had just a little bit left in the bowl, and I just took it and sprinkled it across the top of a few that looked like they didn't have quite enough, because I'm obviously not going to use that brown sugar for anything else after having the chicken and bacon in it raw. So let's pop it in the oven, 350 degrees for 30 minutes. Okay, we baked them for 30 minutes, and then I put them under the broiler for just about 3 minutes. And I turned my pan just to kind of make sure everything was evenly. What you see here is just some of that brown sugar, and that is totally fine. I did put this on I thought it was going to probably make a mess, and so I put it on a foil sheet to kind of get most of that mess, and I sprayed it. So they're going to come off of it pretty easily, it looks like. So it looked like that bacon got crispy, just the way that we wanted it to. So I'm going to plate up just a few of these here. with some of our other game day snacks. And there you go. Sriracha chicken, bacon wrapped chicken. Sriracha bacon wrapped chicken. Looks yummy and it smells yummy. I have to let it cool down just a minute and then we'll give it a taste. All right, let's give it a taste. Ooh. I like it. Got a really good flavor. A little bit of sweet, a little bit of heat. This is perfect if you don't like a lot of spiciness. If you just like a little hint of it, this is perfect. If you want that full spicy effect, brush it again with sriracha before you put that brown sugar on it. And that's probably the way you would like it. But I love this. This is really good. And that bacon keeps the chicken moist. This is a good treat. Give it a try. Thanks so much for joining me today at Mary Catherine's Table. I hope you liked this episode. Try these game day treats. This is just fun to do in the fall or for parties that might come up for the holidays. Just remember to go out and find someone today that needs a little bit of kindness and give them some of yours.